and it's just you have to do all the work. But eventually, you've got to understand, like, you can't make any more of you. You cannot work any more hours. You just can't.
All right, Thrivers. Today we're talking about the counterintuitive path to financial freedom. The goal of this training is to teach you the 3 mindset that you must embrace if you wish to achieve financial freedom. Clay, what are we talking about?
Well, what we were talking about is that a lot of us want financial freedom. I would argue that everybody wants financial freedom. And the only reason that we even have a job for half the population is because we need to pay the bills and to be able to afford the things we want and need. There's another half of the population that has somehow found a way to get paid to do what you love to do. I'm sort of in that lucky group that I really enjoy what I do and I get paid to do it. And that's a great place to be. But usually most people don't find themselves at the actual apex or the where like the peak of where they're what they're passionate about and their profit centers join. Most people don't get paid to play their favorite sport. You know what I mean?
Right.
So, but for those of us who have a job, we're working. So we might as well achieve some financial freedom while we're working because we're already taking time away from our families, taking time away from our hobbies to work.
There you go.
So you might as well focus on how to financially get ahead so that we can spend our time doing the more things that we want to do and less time working.
All right, let's talk about the first mindset. Let's deep dive into this. Mindset number 1, you get paid for results, not for the hours invested.
Yeah, there's a quote, a notable quotable I want to read to you from the author of this book called Scale. And phenomenal book.
Great book.
Phenomenal book. This is the notable quotable. He says, the world doesn't pay you for the hours you put in. It pays you for the value you create. And I see this with entrepreneurs all the time. Yeah. They say, man, I'm working all the time. I'm working like 80 hours a week. I am grinding. Well, if you're not grinding on something that's going to help your family to earn more money by generating more value for the customer, it's kind of a futile attempt at just working. So I'll give you an example very specifically.
Sure.
Years ago, I got hired to come in to work with a doctor. And this doctor I was working with, neat guy, but he worked all the time. And I looked at it, and I always do this with the companies. But I went in and I was like, what results do you have to achieve in order to make money? He says, what do you mean? I said, how do you get paid? What are your income-producing activities? And he says, my income-producing activities are seeing patients. When I see a patient, I get paid. I'm like, okay. And what things are you doing, spending your time doing? And he says, well, I do a lot of paperwork. Do a lot of paperwork. A lot of paperwork. So I said, would it be logical to pay somebody $10 an hour to follow you around and take notes so that they would type up what you're recommending for the patient? They would type up what the patient's saying to you. So you can be fully in the moment, and yet the patient gets the high quality of care, and you don't have to have 4 hours of paperwork to do at the end of every day. Because he was going home and literally doing paperwork for like 4 or 5 hours after seeing patients all day.
Oh, my.
And so he brought in this person for $10 an hour. And found that he could see almost 2 times as many patients and have no homework. And so that's what I'm talking about. You have to think about what are the income-producing activities that I get paid the most for, and what are the things that are low level. And the things that are low level, you want to try to see if you can delegate that out to somebody else or find a way to spend more time working into the things that pay you the most.